What's the last video that you watched that really stuck with you? Whether it made you cry, laugh, or take action, that's the power of video marketing. In today's digital world, video isn't just an option, it's essential. Whether it's TikTok, YouTube, Instagram Reels, or even LinkedIn videos, the brands that embrace video are the ones winning attention and engagement. Today, on season 2, episode 16, we're going to break down why video marketing works, different types of video content, real life success stories, and actionable steps that you can take to start using video effectively today. Now, as we always know, we're starting with why video marketing is so effective, right? Three aspects to the effectiveness of video marketing and why it works is one, it captures attention very quickly. People scroll fast, video stops them in their tracks. So, from a statistic perspective, we've actually seen that viewers retain 95% of a message when watching a video compared to 10% when reading text. Shocker, I know, but as we know, with a content filled marketplace, it's a lot easier to grab people's attention by some sort of video than versus having them have to read some sort of text. Now, the second piece of why it's so effective is it increases both engagement and conversion rates. So when we look at it, videos generate more shares, more comments, and more interaction than static images or text-based posts in both an organic and an advertising perspective. So what's really fascinating is there's this statistic out there that says that landing pages with videos can actually boost conversion rates by over 80%, which I'm not a math genius. 80% is pretty ginormous. It's a much higher conversion rate. So when we implement a little bit of video on a landing page, it can actually make a large difference just by adding a video, which is pretty amazing. Now, the third piece of this is it enhances brand trust and connection by using video marketing. Now, what we're meaning by this is seeing real people, the behind the scenes content, and authentic storytelling, it creates trust. Now, back in, I can't even put a date to this because I don't remember when this was, but it became really popular very quickly. Dollar Shave Club was a big player in the space. I don't really know how big of a player they are now. I don't feel like I see as much about them, but that doesn't mean that they're not big. But I remember when they launched this viral ad campaign, and they essentially built an entire brand off of the Dollar Shave Club ad, which if you have never seen it, highly recommend looking at it. Their viral launch video is actually absolutely incredible, had some really great elements, and it's really what propelled them into massive success in the marketplace. They were a really small brand and they went really viral based off of this video. It kicked off, and obviously the long-term benefits of that, I don't know where they are from a revenue perspective, but they have died down a little bit. But that initial viral launch video really built their entire brand, which is really fascinating. Now, the question becomes, there are so many different types of video content. Where do you use them, right? Because when we look at, let's say, short form videos, we're probably talking about TikTok, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts. And where they're best for is brand awareness, quick tips, or that viral engagement moment, right? So, for example, when we think about Duolingo, they have some really playful TikToks that boost engagement, but it's not a hard sell, right? So, from this perspective, you can hook people in 3 seconds, you keep it punchy engaging, and you move on with their day, right? So that's short form videos. Now, when we're looking at long form videos, obviously there's YouTube, there's LinkedIn, and then obviously Facebook has their feature. These are best for thought leadership, in-depth storytelling, product demonstrations, right? So when we think about it, HubSpot has a really educational YouTube channel, and they have some really great content that both drives authority and trust. So the tip here is we're using storytelling so that you can make people care before they buy, which is a really important step in some business models. Now, there's the aspect of live videos, right? And Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, everyone's moving towards this aspect, or they have been for a while, of live videos. And so what this is best for is sometimes when you're looking for real-time engagement, question and answers, behind the scenes content, that can be really great for live videos because it captures the engagement in a different way. Now, what we've seen here is Sephora has actually done some really interesting, I'm not a huge makeup guy, but I've seen some really interesting things about how they do live beauty tutorials and actually drove real-time purchases, which is a really fascinating concept because you have this large brand doing live beauty tutorials that I think is really interesting. Now, the tip here when we're going live is you need to make sure you at least prep some key talking points, because you want to embrace authenticity when you're doing these live videos, because audiences love real interactions. But we need to be very careful of not going too far off the script, because that's when we can get in a little bit of trouble. We can be unclear about our videos. Sometimes the direction just isn't there, and we can kind of turn some people off more than we do wanting them to make purchases. So on the live videos, we need to make sure that we're at least prepping some key talking points or things that we want to hit on. Now, the fourth one that I think a lot of people overlook is customer testimonial videos. And it used to be more popular back in the day. It's becoming more popular again, but we turned into this UGC type environment. But what we've forgotten is more of the customers telling the story of working with us and encountering the situation. And these types of videos are really great because they can build social proof, they're trust building, they're great for conversions. And I've actually seen Slack has some really great testimonial videos on their website that showcase real teams using their platform. And what this does is it lets customers tell the story in their own words, which, as we know, is actually more powerful than any sales pitch. So the authenticity here, but telling it from the customer's perspective, really makes a big difference. Now, the last piece of video content that can be really effective and helpful are animated and explainer videos. These have always been around, again, different forms, but these can be really good for simplifying complex concepts, B2B marketing, and SaaS companies, because as we look at it, Dropbox actually has some really great explainer videos and actually help them gain millions of users, which is really fascinating. But they used these explainer videos to make their message clear, engaging, and you can even do this for technical topics, which is really fascinating from a broad perspective, because they're taking extremely high technical situations and they're making it a lot more clear and engaging for consumers, which is a really great thing. Now, when we're looking at creating high quality content, this used to be a big thing back in the day, and now it's getting a little bit more accessible to create high quality video content on any budget, because as we know, technology has gotten better, video cameras have gotten better, and there's ways that you can buy 4K type quality videos or cameras for a pretty good dollar amount. And so when we're looking at creating high quality video content on any budget, we need to make sure that we plan our video. So define your goal, whether it's awareness, engagement, conversions, and we need to decide whether there's a script or no script, right? We want to make sure it's conversational, but let's also keep it structured. So whether we're using a script or no script, it's important that we make these decisions. Now, when we're looking at creating a high quality video, we need to make sure that we're looking at shooting and editing tips. So you need to make the decision, are you going to go the DIY option and use like a smartphone with good lighting, simple editing apps, whether that's CapCut, Canva, Adobe, or are you going to go the professional option, right? Are you going to invest in a videographer or use platforms like Fiverr, Upwork for polished content? All of these need to be taken into consideration of your actual message, because some brands use the DIY option for a large scale campaign when they should be using a professional option, and vice versa. Some people use professionals for something that they should probably use for a DIY option. So it's really important to understand what types of shooting environments you want and what the quality you want from that video is going to be. Now, the last piece here is we need to make sure that we remember the importance of authenticity. We need to make sure that we understand that people connect with real and not perfect. And we need to make sure that we don't let overproduction kill reliability or relatability. Because at the end of the day, when we're looking at these largely produced video ads, perfect example, when we were watching Super Bowl ads recently, they look cool, they look great, they engage an audience, but it's a little bit harder for someone to connect with an ad when it's overproduced, when you know that you're not going to be in that situation, when you're driving your Toyota truck over the mountain ranges into Hawaii. It's not realistic for most consumers. So while they want to envision themselves there, it's not as relatable for them, which can kill our vision. So it's important that we understand where we're coming from that, and we make sure that we're leading with authenticity, which is a really important aspect. Now, the question that we get a lot when it comes to video is, how do we distribute and optimize video for maximum impact? So first off, we need to make sure that we're optimizing for each platform. A YouTube video, as we know, probably won't perform well on TikTok. So we need to make sure that we're tailoring content for each platform. And then secondly, we need to make sure that we're using subtitles, because what's really fascinating is there's a statistic out there that says 85% of Facebook videos are actually watched without sound, which might sound crazy, but as we're thinking about it, I think about our lives. I'm usually scrolling in bed watching videos or scrolling through social media. I usually have mute turned on because you press the button or press the video and it turns on and it like hits you really loud. So usually a lot of people are scrolling without video. So having subtitles makes it impact of someone not having to click through your video but can engage with your content. Now, second, there's the aspect of SEO and hashtags. There's some broad debate whether these are important, what works, what doesn't, but we're looking at it as YouTube is actually the second largest search engine. So make sure you're using keywords and titles, descriptions, tags, because it is a search engine and it's really important. Now, the other interesting aspect that we've actually used within our podcast is repurposing content. So, what's really amazing about technology nowadays is you can actually use one video and you can turn it into multiple content pieces. So, you can use blog posts, social media snippets, GIFs if you want. But at the end of the day, it's really fascinating that we can turn a 10 to 15-minute long video into one long form video, a couple short form videos, an audio podcast, and some shorts, usually about 15 or so, just from that one video, which is absolutely incredible. Now, might be a little bit of an underrated campaign, but I always like researching different ad campaigns, what works, what doesn't. And there's actually a real world example of how video marketing has been done right. Now, when we look at a company called Blend Tech, they actually did a campaign centered around Will It Blend? Thought it was really fascinating because what they did was they were this technical, boring blender company, but they turned it into an internet sensation. And they did this by blending iPhones, marbles, and more. And what's fascinating is there's reports that it actually led to a 700% increase in sales just from that video. And so the lesson here, if we're looking at it from a real world example standpoint, is creativity plus relatability plus a product demonstration equals viral success. So there's your roadmap to success: going viral, take that with it, make $1 million, and then come back to me and tell me how great it was. Just kidding. Now, when we look at the key takeaways of this video or this podcast, we need to make sure that we're taking 3 things away from this at the end of the day. 1, we need to make sure that we remember that video marketing isn't just about views. It's about engagement, trust, and conversions. You don't need a Hollywood budget. Consistency and authenticity wins. And you need to start small, test different formats, and see what resonates with your customers. Now, if your brand isn't using video in 2025, you're missing out. The question isn't if you should use video, it's how you're going to use it. So what I'd like to end this with is, what's your biggest question? What's your biggest challenge with video marketing? Because I want to know. Drop a comment below. And if this episode was helpful, I'd highly recommend that you hit subscribe and follow for more marketing insights. Thanks for tuning into Club Conversations. Until next time, keep creating, keep engaging, and keep winning with video.